OG Blades here. Welcome back, knife fans, and particularly automatic knife fans. So you may or may not be. You may have dismissed the whole switchblade automatic knife thing simply because you can't carry them or maybe even have them in the state or town where you live. That's too bad about those restrictive laws, but we've got people out there like Doug Ritter doing some great work for us and turning a lot of these antiquated laws around. After all, what makes an automatic knife more dangerous than, let's say, a steak knife tucked into your waistband? And yeah, there have been crimes committed with those around my neighborhood, no, but to my state in the past, some tragic crimes, unfortunately. But getting back on the positive topic, we have, yes, a new Microtech, the latest generation of a Microtech for this particular one. And let's see if there's a name here. There you go. I got another natural clear Microtech. Becoming very fond of that finish and plan on picking up others when they become available in that particular finish, such as maybe an amphibian. A lot of them are tough to come by. Anyway, here's your Microtech, I was going to say Microsoft, Microtech box. Comes in a little plastic thingy there. And I didn't put the cover slip over it, but there's plenty of paperwork that comes with it too. That's pretty much what you get. And what we've got here is the Cypher 2. That's Cypher, Cypher 2. Now there was a Cypher, original Cypher that was used by John Wick, was kind of known as the John Wick knife in some of the early movies, and it was a double-edged version. And I think they always did make this one, which is, you can call it a reverse Tonto, you can call it a sheep's foot or a Wharncliffe. I tend to go with Wharncliffe when the blade is clipped like that, and you have a more or less straight edge. Little bit of a belly there, which is a good thing because it aids in cutting, slicing, so on and so forth. Now, this one has the dual fuel system, which simply means there's two springs. It is also screwless. You don't see any surface screws here, except for one that holds the clip on. And that's like a big T20, I think. T20 or T25. I should have checked that out before I did the review. Anyway, this is your natural clear, or clear natural. Forget which comes first. What did they say? Got to get it right. Got to get it right. Natural clear, which I believe is a finish, but it's simply a clear finish that shows the aluminum through it, the T6 aluminum. There you see these crosshatch grooves on the platform that the switch rides on, and that's called the Crud Cutter. What that does is allows little dirt and debris and lint and so forth from your pocket to fall down under in those grooves and not bind the button. And this is so light and responsive and smooth, I really don't even have any problems with it with the bad thumb. Call it a bad thumb. It's healing. It's a 3.5-inch blade. We'll get the full measurements in a moment. It is pretty slicey. One thing you don't get with double-edged knives is a finer edge, but you do get a very nice fine edge on this style of blade. And having said that, let's get a chunk of paper out here. Not the best cutting or testing medium, but recently there was a Microtech test of the Hera 2 out on YouTube, torture test, and you should check that one out. How about that? Yes, it cuts. If you do it right. And as Ray said in doing his testing, there is a technique to cutting paper, actually. You don't just push it through, you got to give it a little draw so it's the edge is utilized on it. So I'm not going to take it apart here, but there is actually a video from Microtech on how to take this apart properly. And you remove both sides of this lanyard hole screw here. And this plate slides back a small amount, maybe like 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch or so, lifts off, and then you have direct access to the inside. For lubricating it, they recommend white grease on the springs, and I won't get into all of that because they covered it extremely well from the manufacturer. But again, this is the Cypher 2. So far, it is only available in this blade configuration. As with some of my other natural clear Microtech knives, this is the apocalyptic finish, which is heavily stone washed. You can see that. And a beautiful, smooth, milled surface. You can even see some kind of a satin sort of a brushwork on the surface there. Really, really nicely done. And we've got a glass breaker that is secured, I believe, with that screw as well. And it is a ball bearing style glass breaker, which is good because you don't strafe your back of your hand on it when you reach your hand into your pants pocket where this knife might be riding. And it is from M390 MK. Let's see. Yep, M390 MK. Their special formulation. And overall length, right to the ball, pretty much 8.5 inches. And slightly more than 3.5 inches, well, at 3.55, at the cutting edge of 3.25. So you got a little bit of a choil there. I wouldn't necessarily stick my finger in there, but I suppose you carefully could. Other measurements, and in inches, the handle, 0.47. Pretty slim. Blade stock, 0.10. In millimeters, 2.5 millimeters. Fairly thin blade stock. There are heavier weight, like the Combat Troodon, I believe, and I think maybe, can't think of which one. Scarab has a heavier blade. But this is just right as far as I'm concerned. It's both stabby and slicey. Love it. Weight is 3.95, we'll call that. Nice. I mean, under 4 ounces. Under 4 ounces of titanium and M390 MK. There's the size in my hand. Sticks out about 3/4 of an inch or so on each side. So plenty of handle there. Fast actuation. I like the single edge blade because you can reinforce it with the thumb. I know they do a bayonet grind on some of the double edge knives, and that's a good thing. I'll show you one for an example coming up in just a moment. Not cheap on this knife. Coming in around $4 bills. You either like Microtechs and are willing to pay the price of admission, or you're not. SOCOM manual, SOCOM Elite manual with the drop point blade. There's a blade with plenty of stock, I think close to 5 millimeters. And this has the nice rubbery traction stuff inside, but you see the same finish. That's the one I like. And I do have a stitch ram lock in the same finish. Rounding it out, for Microtech, there is the Glycon. This I picked up a while ago. This was, and maybe still is, their so-called flagship OTF that may be soon replaced by others in the Gen 2, Gen 3, Cypher 2, and then they got the Gen 3 in some of the other models. But this is a neat one. I had really hoped to get the one with just the serrations on one side and no serrations on the other. But that is interesting because you do have a fair amount of smooth edge and it's slicey sharp. And you've got serration set back nearer the handle here and further from the handle there, because there is your platform where you can place your thumb on that bayonet grind. How is the action, you might ask, of the, I think this is only a single spring. It's a little harder, that's for sure. That's a whole lot lighter. Very light. Very, very light action. And this action, a little heavier, and it comes out with a little more force. You can hear the difference. Let's bring this one back. So, kind of a thunk with this one. And there's more of a blade coming out too. It's a longer blade. Let's see if I can show you that. Kind of back out. Right about there. Let's get them in line. I'm not ready to put any snail trails on the new one. There it is. About a ½ inch longer on the blade, on the Glycon, than on the Cypher 2. So you don't quite have that grayish finish on the Glycon. It's a little brighter on this top plate. And they told me, or at least I think most of us understood, that they were going to give you replaceable different materials that you could put in yourself on this one, but I haven't seen them yet, unfortunately. Glycon. And then just to bring in a different brand for compare, whatever that compare might be, here we have a Hogue, and this is the Hogue. It is the Hogue Counter-Strike. Gotta go look it up. Can't keep up with all the names. It's a more slender blade, as you can see. Not as tall top to bottom. It's the Tonto variety. There are other double edge and whatnot varieties on the Counter-Strike. The Counter-Strike is CPM 20CV. Really a carpenter's equivalent, I believe, to the Bowler MK390 or M390 MK. More slender handle. Let's put them side by side here. The way they put that clip, I got to rock it forward there. So overall, very close. Yeah, it depends upon where you're measuring from. The Cypher 2 may be just a little bit longer. Definitely taller in the handle and in the blade. Here is a G-Mascus G10 on one side, aluminum on the other, with that nice pattern, and a deep carry clip. That's the Hogue Counter-Strike. This isn't quite deep carry, as you probably have seen, but it is one of the newer style clips with that ceramic ball. And it does go in and out of the pocket pretty well. It doesn't go in quite so easily as something with a long, shallow ramp. So I don't know if there's a contradiction in terms there, but a long ramp on the way in, because it's a little more abrupt, but it does come out of the pocket a good deal easier. And there on the clip, you do see Microtech, and you do see that this one was made in 05 of 2024. This came from the good folks down at NC Blade in North Carolina. They have quite the Microtech selection if you're looking for one that you can't find elsewhere. And you can also get them at Knife Center, at Blade HQ, at Tactical Elements, at a bunch of places. And Southern Edges, those are all places I've shopped for auto knives. Well, let me know what you think. Last little demo here. Hasn't failed. Probably had it open about a couple hundred times or so, open and closed. No fail, works perfectly. The new system seems to be enhancing an already good system. A little bit of blade play, not going to demo that, very small amount. You're going to get that in all except their newest offering, which is coming out soon. This is mid-June 2024. Probably by sometime in July, you're going to see their new knife, which has a equivalent deadlock, sort of, not calling it that, but it's got a deadlock, sort of a lockup system in it with no blade play, but expect to pay a little bit more, I would say. All right, you all be well. Don't forget to give this vid a like and subscribe. This is OG Blade Reviews, formerly This Old Sword. Take care.